If you're able to do these few things as your income increases, lifestyle creep will probably never be an issue for you. Whatever you do, don't ditch your budget. This is a mistake that I feel a lot of people make, and part of that I think has to do with the idea that some people think that budgets are only for broke people or for people who don't have a lot of money. But that could not be farther from the truth. Now, yes, it is true. If you're having financial problems, a budget is important because there isn't a lot of wiggle room for error. However, budgets aren't only for people in this category. Even if your income increases by $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000, sticking to one is still important because as our income increases, our spending naturally goes in the same direction. And if you're not careful, you'll eat away at all of your extra cash. So if you're already budgeting, continue to do so because this is going to ensure that you keep your spending within a reasonable range. Also, don't stop being frugal. Likewise, frugality is not only for people who need to save money. Some of the most wealthiest and financially stable people are still frugal. And as a rule of thumb, just because you can afford to spend more on something doesn't mean that you should. So continue to compare prices, look for bargains, and don't buy something just because you can. Additionally, if your old income is still able to support your lifestyle, meaning you're still able to pay your bills, one of the best things you can do is pretend that a pay increase did not happen. So instead of automatically upgrading your lifestyle, make a concerted effort to upgrade your savings and investments. If you do so, this is a decision that you will not regret over the next 5, 10, or 20 years because you're going to earn a much higher return. And another thing you might consider is putting some of that cash toward paying off high interest debt, which is costing you money every single month. Additionally, every 3 months, conduct a quarterly lifestyle checkup. This is so important when it comes to fighting lifestyle inflation. It basically involves looking at your current spending to see how it's stacked up against the previous quarter, and you'll look at every single category from groceries to entertainment, recreation, self-care, and miscellaneous shopping. Lifestyle creep is sneaky and it can happen gradually, so you might not even realize just how much your spending has increased over a short period of time. So by doing these quarterly checkups, you're able to catch the habit and make adjustments early. Of course, this doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your higher income because that would be unrealistic. So another thing that you can do is be very selective when it comes to upgrading your life. So instead of giving your entire lifestyle an overhaul at once, where you get into a new car or buy a new house unnecessarily, or you start redoing your wardrobe and eating out multiple times a week, pick one thing to upgrade every 6 months or every year, and then keep the rest of your spending the same. And keep in mind that this is really for your protection, because when you upgrade everything at once, you could find yourself living paycheck to paycheck very quickly. But on the other hand, if you upgrade gradually, it'll be so much easier to monitor your cash flow. You can also balance it out, and by this I mean that for every splurge, see if you can find a way to save money, preferably the same amount elsewhere. Chances are there are several things that you're spending money on at the moment that aren't really that important to you or necessary. Meanwhile, there are other things that you would rather do. So instead of just adding new expenses on top of the ones that you don't really care about, do an even trade so that you're able to enjoy more without necessarily spending more. And from time to time, you should also do a value check where you look back on what you've upgraded. And the purpose of this is to make sure that all of those previous upgrades were worth it. Sometimes we buy things that we think will make sense or add value to our life, but then we realize weeks or even months later that they don't. So by going back and looking at these items, you can then decide whether you should keep them. And if not, you might consider selling them and recouping some of your money. Also, be thankful for what you already have. Some people might not agree, but I 1000% believe that contentment is one of the best tools for fighting lifestyle inflation. And just so that we're all on the same page, contentment does not mean absence of desire, nor does it mean that you can never improve your life. However, being happy and satisfied with what you currently have can curb that desire to upgrade your lifestyle every single time your income increases. For example, a couple might live in a 2,000 square foot house that's perfectly adequate for them. Yet, as soon as their income increases, they might make the immediate decision to go from a 2,000 square foot house to a 4,000 square foot home. And not because they need the extra space, but rather because they're using the size of their home as a measure of success. Now, I can't tell anyone what to do, obviously, but the reality is bigger is not always better. There are usually more expenses when you go bigger, more to clean, more to maintain, and I've heard countless stories of people jumping into much larger homes and quickly regretting the decision. And finally, learn how to appreciate experiences over stuff. So I've spoken about this a little in previous videos, how over the years, my husband and I, we've really gotten away from giving each other individual gifts on our anniversary, and instead we take that money and enjoy an experience. And I realize that everyone is different, so different things make us tick, but I bring this up to really highlight or bring attention to the idea of prioritizing experiences over stuff. Because to be honest, even though I've received a lot of nice gifts over the years, I can't immediately recall every single one, but I do vividly remember every single trip or experience that we've had. The truth is, material things are just stuff. They don't always last forever, they can be lost or stolen, and after some time, the excitement of them can wear off. But in my opinion, experiences and the memories created from them can have much more lasting value.